Now we've got Al Gibbons coming up on stage to tell us why it's all about why. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I'm a life insurance professional, and for the last 20 years, all of my business has been referred by trust and estates attorneys and by financial institutions who ask me to come in and work with their clients and design and implement sophisticated life insurance plans that actually coordinate with the estate planning that's being done. Here's the good news. What I'm going to talk about today is not about life insurance sales. And I hope it really applies to all the businesses that we have here in the room. I would really like to talk about business models and how we position our businesses for the next 5 or 10 years and how we differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. Justin, do I have a clicker? Oh, you do. Great presentation. So let's see here. Which one is it, Dana? Oh. So, the big green one. Okay, so Mike O'Donnell, the former president, 2 or 3 years ago, put a slide up on the board that really inspired me to think about my business model and what was important. Thank you, Michael. And what Michael said in that slide was, there are things that we all have in common in this room. And by the way, think about your own business, not about my business. I'll use some life insurance examples, but you really need to think about your investment practices, your financial planning practices, and so forth. So what are the things that we have in common? We have the same products, we have the same rates, we have the same strategies, we have the same tax laws. So how, in fact, do we differentiate ourselves in the marketplace? Why should an advisor recommend his most important clients to me rather than to you, or rather than the person sitting next to you? I'd like to play a 4-minute video that I think will set the context for what I'm going to talk about this morning. Could we play that, please?
As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe.
So, the three circles. We don't have time today to talk about what we do or how we do it, how I do it. What we really have time to talk about today is the why. And remember what Simon Sinek says. The goal is not to do business with people who need what we have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what we believe. I said in the opening that for the last 20 years, I've been out marketing to other professionals, and all my business is referred by other professionals. But Mike O'Donnell made me think about something different. And that old saying, your eyes only see, what is it? Your eyes only see, your ears only hear what your brain is looking for. And I started thinking about this, and I came across that video. And that made me think about some other things. And what it really made me do was to think and understand that I really only need to do business with people who believe what I believe, who share the values that I have. So my obligation is to go out into the marketplace, tell people what I believe, and ultimately I believe birds of a feather flock together. And I think that's a much more efficient way to set up networks and referral sources and clients and all the things that you do in your businesses. So what do I believe? The core of the beliefs and values in my company have been and are the AEG Always laws. And what are they? There are 10. And the first is, I believe we always need to be who we say we are. Scotty Brennan had a quote that he did several years ago that's always stuck with me. I want no space between what I say and what I do. There has to be a congruence in the marketplace, and people get to see us act and do the things that really prove what we believe. I believe we always need to do what we say we're going to do. I believe we always need to know what we're supposed to know. When professionals refer their best clients to me, there's no pretending. I have to be expert in what I do. That's competence. I believe that we always need to put the client's best interest first. That's integrity. And putting those two together reminds me of a quote by Samuel Johnson. Integrity without knowledge is weak and useless. Knowledge without integrity is dangerous and dreadful. Think Bernie Madoff. I believe we always need to tell the truth. I believe we need to treat clients the way they want to be treated. I believe we always need to finish strong, dot the I's and cross the T's. I need to work with other professionals who believe that also. We're an industry that's planning rich, but process and implementation poor. Too often we do not dot the I's and cross the T's. I believe we need to distinguish between customer and client partner. I believe in collaborative models, and I'll talk about it a little bit more as we go on. But I believe the clients we deal with are very smart. They may not know anything about life insurance or about estate planning, but they know what's in their hearts. And they have a seat at the table, and we can learn so much from them and how we can provide better solutions to them. I believe in unique process. My statement in the marketplace is I believe we can do 80% of estate planning in 20% of the time normally required. So in a 60 to 90 day time frame. And I'll address that briefly in the end. And finally, and very, very importantly, I believe we should always focus on team and partner with other experts. So, my experience is in the marketplace that most professionals operate in silos. And because the accountant's here, and the life insurance professional is here, and the attorney is here, and the trust office is over here, and they're not communicating, and they're not coordinating, as a result, the planning and the implementation is subpar. AALU 2 years ago wrote this piece. Now, I think I'm a life insurance expert, and you're all experts in your businesses. But listen to what AALU said. Life insurance planning has become more complicated as products become more complex, the tax laws remain uncertain, and the marketplace grows more advanced. This complexity requires a much higher level of sophistication in planning and can lead to hazards and unexpected tax consequences for the inexperienced. The proper purchase, transfer, funding, and ongoing management of a life insurance policy requires the collaboration of an expert team of advisors, producers, lawyers, financial planners, accountants, and a clear process for implementation and post-closing administration. I never act alone. I'm always working with other professionals, other experts, and I encourage you to think about how you might do that in your practice. The team provides checks and balances due to the overlapping knowledge of the participants, their acceptance of 100% responsibility for the well-being of the client, and their tenacity in making sure there's flawless implementation of their recommendations, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. If there are 3 advisors in a collaborative process working for a client, we are not each 1/3 responsible for the client. We are each 100% responsible for the client. And we need to make sure that we're dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and have flawless implementation. Those are the promises we make. And I believe I need to find other advisors that I can work with that have those same values. Here's what collaboration isn't. It's not about cross-marketing. It's not about generating referrals or revenue sharing. This is a great article that was written several years ago. And just for the moment, let's all think of ourselves as just wealth planners. Just think of yourselves as a wealth planner and listen to what this person writes. No wealth manager is an island. I believe that very strongly. Successful wealth managers are internally supported by competent, dedicated, and well-trained staff, and externally supported by a network of top-flight experts who can deliver the diverse knowledge and services that affluent clients want and expect. Proactively developing, managing, and upgrading this expert network is one of the wealth manager's paramount tasks. In strategic coach terms, it's backstage and front stage, right? How do we differentiate ourselves in the marketplace? I would say our Rolodex, to use an old term, is really one way to do that. Capabilities that we can bring to the table that our clients want and expect. So we need to develop those expert networks. It's not uncommon, think of this. It's not uncommon for advisors to complain that while they give referrals to other experts, they don't get any back. Did it ever happen to anyone in this room? Well, the main purpose of creating the expert network is not to get more business referrals from the experts, but to serve your niche so well that your clients will generate more referrals and give you more business. So, we talk about collaboration. I believe in collaboration, but we never define it. I want to give you two definitions of collaboration and look at the similarities between the two. Teamwork, working together to produce not just good, but extraordinary results. Coordinated action, move faster without losing intelligence, move quickly, but completely and confidently. Now look at the overlap. High performance collaboration, people working together to accelerate the creation of value faster than normal. Speed in both of those, and working together, it's not a handoff. And the one non-negotiable for other advisors that I work with, and hopefully they expect this from me, client's best interest is a non-negotiable. Client first. So, very briefly, long sales cycles, and Chuck was talking about sales process earlier today. There is a book written by Covey's son that's called The Speed of Trust that I really recommend to all of you because we can accelerate this creation of value when there's trust out there. Long sales cycles are expensive and frustrating for advisors. Advisors would like to learn how to systematically motivate clients to take action quickly. Does that ring a bell? That moment of decision, Chuck? When is the appropriate time to do that? Here's a graphical representation of my sales process, my unique process. Along the vertical axis, it's the percentage of successful plan implementations. And along the horizontal axis, it's timeline, 60 days to 180. And what this graph tells you is that I have a very high percentage of successful plan implementations if it's done in 60 to 90 days. And if I go out 180 days with a client and we haven't done anything, then it's probably not going to get done. So how do clients feel about that? How do they feel about speed in this world today? Here's what one executive says: give me what I need and fast, because after all, I'd rather be floating down a river or hiking a trail. So in summary, I believe in the AEG always laws, and I just need to go find other professionals that I can work with who believe the same thing. Birds of a feather flock together. I believe collaboration is essential in this increasingly complex world. I believe planning is subpar when advisors don't collaborate. I believe that biases are a reality for all of us. We all have our biases. And the only way that I know to vet those biases, if we truly want to act in the best interest of a client, is to put my recommendations on the table in a very transparent way and let everybody at the table at it. And if the other advisors can come up with better solutions, then let's go do what's best for the client. Collaboration is not a handoff. I believe the promises we make to clients, if we make unbiased promises to the client and flawless implementation, if we promise that, and the best design, if we promise that, then we have to keep those promises. And I think there's an ethical imperative to doing that. And finally, there needs to be a platform of mutual respect. And what does that mean? It means that we believe what we believe, and we share the values. And that's what we bring to the table, and we can articulate that. And finally, here's what I would say to each and every one of us. What we do and how we do it is proof of what we believe. Thank you.
Al, great job, and thank you.